I've had countless suggestions to do a top 10 villains list on Hawkeye for quite some time, and I'm finally getting around to it. With this video, realize I have never been all that familiar with Hawkeye as a character. I've always enjoyed Green Arrow more, but that doesn't mean I'm not willing to put in the time to research his rogues gallery and shed some light on these underrated foes. Hawkeye is a member of the Avengers, so naturally he has faced off against a lot of Marvel villains over the years in countless crossovers. But with this list, I wanted to try to focus on villains of Hawkeye specifically, or at least as many as I could. I also chose a few characters I haven't discussed before. This gives me a reason to now. I drew from Hawkeye's various standalone series, his time as a member of the West Coast Avengers, the original Avengers, Ronin, the works. As always, I will keep my descriptions somewhat brief, because I can always discuss each of these characters in future villain breakdowns, who knows. If my list contains characters you wouldn't have chosen, or is missing big names, be sure to leave them in the comment section below, but realize I'm not a hardcore Hawkeye fan, and besides, don't take YouTube videos personal. Alright, let's begin. Starting off the list at number 10, we have Jason Rowland, also known as the Hangman, who utilizes his super strength and magical rope to choke the life out of his enemies. Rowland debuted in 1970 among the pages of Tower of Shadows number 5, but would be reintroduced and rebranded the Hangman in Avengers West Coast Volume 2, number 76, from 1991. Rowland was an aspiring film actor known for wearing makeup and prosthetics. He made a deal with a special artist that turned out to be an agent of the devil that trapped him in a full-body monster suit. To free himself of his monstrous form, he made another deal, this time with the demon Satanish, who gave him increased power. As the Hangman, Rowland found himself facing off with the West Coast Avengers, obsessed with filming their defeat for the whole world to see. At number 9 we have David Cannon, Whirlwind, originally called the Human Top. He's a mutant with the ability to spin his limbs and body at superhuman speeds to not only fight, but fly if he wants to. Some versions even have him wearing saw blades on each of his wrists. Whirlwind has fought Ant-Man, Captain America, Black Panther, and the rest of the Avengers and West Coast Avengers over the years, including Hawkeye. He's been a member of the Masters of Evil with Ulysses Claw, the Melter, Radioactive Man, and the Black Knight, and also part of the Lethal Legion, alongside the Living Laser and Power Man, Eric Jostin. Moving on to number 8 with Elton Healy, Oddball, an expert juggler who uses trick spheres filled with knockout gas, smoke grenades, exploding shrapnel, corrosive liquids, some are on fire, he's got it all. He was a member of the mercenary group known as the Death Throes, which consisted of several other criminal jugglers. I'm also going to group in the villainous Bombshell, Wendy Conrad, with Oddball as well, because she too is a master juggler and teamed with him on several occasions. Originally debuting in The Incredible Hulk number 3 from September of 1962, Maynard Tybalt, the Ringmaster, has faced off with the likes of Hulk, Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the Avengers over the years, and more recently both Hawkeyes, Clint Barton and Katie Bishop. He would use his powers of hypnotism to control the minds of rich spectators at his Cirque de Nuit, or night circus, and steal from them. Katie would blind Ringmaster by shooting 2 arrows into his eyes. Ouch! In many of his appearances, he's usually seen leading a villainous group of circus performers known as the Circus of Crime. The Ringmaster is a very gimmicky villain, but he can be a lot of fun too. At number 6, I'm going with the Swordsman. As his name suggests, he is an expert at swordsmanship, and even carries a sword that can project energy beams, modified by the Mandarin. He debuted as a villain, but has found himself on the side of good on occasion, becoming a member of the Avengers at one point. He was also part of another incarnation of the Lethal Legion, led by Grim Reaper. Got to get to him someday. Next up at number 5 is Madam Hydra, also known as Viper, a high-ranking and hugely influential figure in the criminal underworld, on a global scale for that matter, at one point leading the terrorist organization Hydra, hence her name. She's highly skilled in swordplay and firearms, but her signature weapons utilize poisons and toxins. Over the years, she has fought not only the Avengers, but Captain America, Daredevil, the X-Men, the list goes on and on. At number 4, I've chosen Anthony Masters, Taskmaster. I've talked about him before, but he has the ability to mimic any physical movements he witnesses with the utmost precision, something he calls photographic reflexes. I think his skill set is a perfect match for Hawkeye, and the fact that he possesses incredible archery skill too, and can copy even more of it from Hawkeye in the blink of an eye, means he's a force to be reckoned with. Moving on to number 3, I'm going with Clown, Kazimierzak. God, I hope I pronounced that right. Though not as big of a threat as some of the other characters on this list, he's only made a few appearances in the comics. I think he's fairly memorable and unique, all things considered. Clown was a young boy whose circus family died during armed conflict. His friend would also die in a subway explosion as well, which sent him over the edge. He began killing people and decided to become a mercenary so he could get paid for it. He was sent after Clint Barton, being employed by several mob bosses like Kingpin and the Owl, and he made a pretty big dent too. Next up at number 2 is Trickshot. The first one was Buck Chisholm, and just like Hawkeye, he is a highly skilled archer and uses a variety of different arrows in his arsenal. He has acted as both an enemy and an ally of Clint Barton over the years. In fact, he was the man who taught Hawkeye how to shoot arrows in the first place at the Carson Carnival of Traveling Wonders. Trickshot ended up getting cancer and even wanted his pupil to kill him the honorable way in a death challenge of sorts. When Chisholm eventually died, the Trickshot moniker was taken on by Barney Burton, Clint's older brother. Again, he's acted as both an enemy and an ally over the years. Maybe someday I'll do a more in-depth breakdown of the Trickshot character, but for now, we'll leave it at that. And at number 1 we have William Cross, Crossfire, the cousin of Darren Cross, who now goes by the name of Yellow Jacket. Crossfire is a robotics and cybernetic expert who possesses various physical enhancements which have improved his combat skills and marksmanship, specifically his left eye, which houses an infrared imaging device, great for sniping. He also developed an ultrasonic brainwashing device, which he has used on occasion. I think the most villainous thing he has done to Hawkeye specifically is put a bounty on his head that many other villains would pursue. What made it interesting though is that it was a bounty for his arm, to eliminate Hawkeye's archery skill. Well guys, that does it for this list. If there are any villains of Hawkeye you feel should have been included, be sure to leave them in the comment section down below. A notable one I could have included would have been Helmut Zemo, but like I mentioned at the beginning, I wanted to try to focus on some names I haven't talked about before, ones not many people might know about. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bell icon to be notified of all future content I release. Also, if you'd like to support me on patreon.com/channel NerdGasm, that would be much appreciated too. It's how videos like these become reality and keeps my YouTube channel alive. I will see all of you in the next one. Take care.